May 1957. Miles City, Montana. The biggest horse sale in the West. A girl leads a sorrel gelding down the ramp into the yard. She is 11 years old. The rope is too big for her hands. 4 years ago, a telegram came from Korea. Her father did not come home. The note on the home place fell due this spring, and there is nothing left to sell but the horse he raised. Her name is Lily Mercer. The horse is named Banner. She has come to do the one thing she swore she never would. She has come to sell him. Here is the story. The Miles City sale fills the yards every spring. Buyers come from 4 states. Ranchers, rodeo men, army remount agents, traders with cigars and folded bills in their fists. The pens run for half a mile. The air is all dust and horse and money. Lily came in on the back of a neighbor's truck before light. She brushed Banner in the dark of the wash rack until his coat threw back the first sun. She braided his mane the way her father taught her. If she has to sell him, she will sell him looking like something. That much she can still do for him. Banner is a 5-year-old sorrel. Her father bred the mare. Her father was there the night the colt was born. Her father slipped the first halter over his ears and named him. Then her father went to Korea, and a sergeant came up the lane with a folded flag, and the colt grew up under the hands of a girl who needed something to hold on to. Banner is not a horse to Lily. Banner is the last warm thing her father's hands ever made. Her mother did not come today. Her mother could not watch it. It was her mother who made the choice and signed Banner over to the spring sale, because the bank holds the note on the home place, and the bank does not take horses. It takes dollars, and the only dollars left in the world stand on 4 legs in pen number 19. The neighbor who hauled them up in his stock truck before light is down at the sale office now, the consignment in his name. The way these things are done. Lily asked her mother for one thing only, to be the one who walks Banner into the ring herself. That much she would not hand to anybody else. She knows the figure on the note. She heard her mother say it to the kitchen wall one night when she thought Lily was asleep. It is not a large number to the men in the good hats walking the pens this morning. It is only larger than anything the Mercers have. Her father used to say the place would carry them if they just held on through the bad years. He did not know how many bad years there would be. He did not know he would not be there for them. A man can lose a great deal in this life and go on. He can lose money and land and even people. What breaks something in a person is a day like this one, when the only way to keep your home is to sell the last living piece of your father you have left. The sale ring is a roofed pit of raw plank, sawdust on the floor, board benches rising on 3 sides. The auctioneer stands in a high box with a microphone and a voice that does not stop. Horses come through a gate, turn once in the dust, and go out the far side sold. Lily waits her turn by the gate with Banner. The men around her are grown and loud. They look at the horse and not the girl. One of them, a heavy buyer in a good hat, runs a thumb down Banner's shoulder, pries open his mouth, checks his teeth, and writes something in a little book. "Killer price, maybe," the man says to the trader beside him. "Not cruel, just business. Nice enough using horse, but there's 100 head better here today. Canners are paying 6 cents a pound. Won't go higher than that for a kid's pony." Lily does not know all the words. She knows killer price. She knows what the canners do. She holds the rope and says nothing, and her face does not move, because her father told her once that you do not let them see what it costs you. Where are you watching from? Drop your state in the comments. I want to see how far this story reaches. Across the yard, by the rail, a big man stands watching the pens. He is between pictures. He came up to Montana to look at horses, real ones, for a cavalry story shooting in the fall. 40 mounts that have to match and stand fire and not spook at a blank cartridge. He has bought horses his whole life. He knows them the way some men know cards. He is leaning on the top rail with his hat pushed back, watching the stock come through. When he notices the girl, he notices her because she is the only still thing in the whole yard. Everything else moves and shouts and trades. The girl just stands with her horse and waits, and the horse drops his nose to her shoulder, and she does not push it away. There is a way a child stands when she has already lost more than a child should have to. Wayne has seen it on back lots and in train stations, and once, a long time ago, in a mirror. The shoulders square. The chin comes up a quarter of an inch. The eyes go somewhere far off and stay there. It is not strength, exactly. It is the thing a person builds in the place where the strength used to be. John Wayne has watched a lot of horses get sold. He has never gotten used to the look on a person who is selling the one they love. He watches the heavy buyer check the teeth. He hears the words "killer price" carry across the dust. He sees the girl's face hold still. And he knows that trick, the one where you stand like stone so they can't see what it's doing to you, because he has used it himself, more times than he would say. He turns to the local man beside him and asks who the child is. "Mercer girl," the man says, "lost her dad in Korea. Mother's about to lose the place to the bank. That sorrel's the last thing they own worth $1. The man shakes his head. "Shame. But that's the kind of year it's been out here." Wayne knows the year. He has driven 1,000 miles of it to get here. Little places drying up. Boys gone to the cities, or gone to Korea and not come back. Old men selling off the last good mare to make a payment to a bank that never once put its hand on a horse. He has played men who lived on land like this. In pictures folks lined up around the block to see. He has just never made his peace with watching the land take its own people down. Wayne does not answer. He looks at the girl a while longer. Then he looks at the horse. Then he reaches into his coat for the little numbered card the sale clerk hands every buyer, the card he came here to use on 40 cavalry mounts, and he turns it over once in his fingers. The gate swings open. Number 19. Lily leads Banner into the ring. The lights hang high, and the benches are full of strangers, and the auctioneer's voice comes down over all of it like rain on a tin roof. She walks the horse to the center and turns him once, the way her father showed her, and Banner moves clean and easy because he trusts the small hands on the rope. 5-year-old sorrel gelding, sound, broke gentle, the auctioneer calls. "Who'll start me? Who'll gimme 50? A hand goes up. 50. The heavy buyer, the one who said killer price. 50. Now 60. Gimme 60. 60. 70. The bids come from men buying meat by the pound. 80. The numbers are low, and they climb slow. And Lily understands, standing in the middle of it, that this is what her father's horse is worth to the world. $80. A home for $80, and the rest of it made up out of nothing at all. 80 once, the auctioneer calls. 80 twice. 100. The voice comes from the rail, low, not loud, but the whole ring hears it, the way one quiet word carries when everything else is just noise. Heads turn. The big man at the rail has lifted his hand, just to the brim of his hat. Just enough. The auctioneer blinks. "I got 100. $100 bill. Thank you, sir." The heavy buyer scowls and lifts his book. "And 10. 200, says the man at the rail. A sound moves through the benches. The heavy buyer turns to see who is bidding against 6-cent meat money like that, and he sees the face, and his mouth closes. 200, the auctioneer says, and his voice has changed. Do I hear? Nobody breathes. The heavy buyer looks at the horse. He looks at the man. He puts his little book back in his pocket. Wayne does not move. 1 second. 2, 3. 200 once. 200 twice. Sold to the gentleman at the rail. Lily stands in the center of the ring holding the rope. She does not understand. The horse has been sold out from under her. Somebody bought him. It is over. And she does not yet know that the man who bought him is already coming down off the rail and walking across the sawdust toward her. He crouches down, a big man folding all the way down to the height of an 11-year-old girl. He pushes his hat back. Up close, his face is the one from the picture show, the one her father used to take her to on Saturday nights before Korea. And Lily's eyes go wide, but he speaks before she can. You raised him good, Wayne says. Best-looking horse to come through that gate all day. Anybody tell you that yet? Lily shakes her head. Well, he is. Wayne takes the lead rope from the auctioneer's man. And then he does the thing that nobody in that yard will ever forget. He turns the rope around and puts it back into the girl's hand and folds her small fingers over it. "He's yours," Wayne says. "I just made sure nobody else could have him." The benches have gone quiet. 200 men who came to trade horses sit and watch a tall stranger kneel in the sawdust and hand a girl back the only thing she owns. Nobody claps. It is not that kind of quiet. It is the kind that settles over hard men when they are watching something they will want to tell their wives about that night and will not have the words for. Have you ever had someone hand back the very thing you'd already made yourself stop hoping for? It undoes something in a person, doesn't it? She cannot make the words come. She looks at the rope in her hand and the horse at her shoulder and the man crouched in the dust, and she still does not understand, because nothing he has done makes sense to a child who has spent 4 years learning that the things you love get taken away. "But you bought him," she manages. "I did." Wayne stands back up. He looks across the yard, toward the little plank office where the sale clerk and a man from the bank sit with the day's papers. "Now I'm going to go buy something else." He could have stopped right there. He could have given the girl her horse back and felt like $100 worth of decent man and driven on to look at his cavalry mounts. That is what a kind man does. He could have done exactly that and walked away clean. But instead he walks to the plank office, and he asks the clerk one quiet question. "How much is the note against the Mercer place?" The number is not large to a man like him. It is the whole world to a woman on a ranch outside town who could not bear to come watch her daughter sell the horse. Wayne lays his checkbook on the plank counter. He does not make a speech. He writes the figure, and then he writes a little more, enough to put hay in the barn and coal in the bin for the winter coming. He tears it out and hands it across. "It comes from a friend," Wayne tells the bankman. "She doesn't need to know which one. Tell her a fella who served with her husband's outfit settled it up. Leave my name out of it." The bankman looks at the check and at the signature and starts to say something. Wayne already has his hat going back on. "Leave it out," Wayne says again. 2 words. That is the whole of it. Then he walks back out into the dust and the noise, past Pen 19, past the heavy buyer who will tell this story wrong for the rest of his life, and he finds the local man at the rail. "Those 40 cavalry horses," Wayne says. "Let's go look at 'em." And that is all. As if nothing had happened. As if he had not just bought a dead Marine's daughter her whole life back for $200 and a check she would never lay eyes on. Lily Mercer led Banner home on the back of the neighbor's truck that evening. The home place was still theirs. Her mother stood in the yard in the last light and could not understand the letter that came from the bank a week later. The one that said the note was paid in full, settled, by a friend. They kept the ranch. Lily grew up on it. She rode Banner down the section road to school, and she rode him to the dances when she was older. And when Banner grew too old to ride, she turned him out in the home pasture, and he lived there fat and gray-muzzled to the end of his days. Banner lived to be 29. That is 24 years past the afternoon in the sale ring. 24 years of a girl and her father's horse, bought for $200 by a man who would not give his name. And out of Banner came colts, and out of those colts came more, until there were horses carrying his blood on that range for the better part of 40 years. All of it from one raised hand at a rail in 1957. Do the arithmetic the way Lily's mother did, alone at the kitchen table the night the bank's letter came. One stranger. $200 for a horse he never meant to keep. A note paid that the family could never have paid on their own. A winter's hay and coal piled on top of it, and set against all that. A home held. A girl raised up on her own land. 4 generations of horses out of 1 sorrel colt, and a debt of gratitude that outlived the man who earned it by half a century. It does not balance. It was never meant to. The good that man did at a cattle town horse sale kept drawing interest for 50 years, and he collected on none of it. Lily Mercer became Lily Mercer Dawes. She raised her own children on the home place her father bought, and a stranger saved. She never knew the man's name for certain. only that her mother always said a fella who'd served alongside her husband had settled the note, and that the tall man who bought the horse and gave it back had a face she had seen up on a screen somewhere. Years later, when the museum took the old halter in, a county newspaper ran a small piece on it. A woman named Lily Dawes was quoted in 3 short lines. She said only that her father had raised the horse, that the horse came home the same day she led him off to be sold, and that she had spent her whole life grateful to a man she could not name. The reporter asked what she meant by that. She said some things a person just keeps. Then she changed the subject to the weather and the spring calving, the way ranch people do when they are finished talking about a thing. She had put it together in time. Most everyone did, but by then the man was gone, and he had never once stepped forward to claim a word of it. Today, in the Range Riders Museum in Miles City, there is a worn leather halter in a glass case. The little card beside it says it belonged to a ranch horse named Banner, a local horse much loved. The card does not tell you the rest. It does not tell you that the halter was first buckled onto a colt by a man who died in Korea, or that the colt was led into the sale ring by his 11-year-old daughter, or that a stranger at the rail raised his hand and bought a horse he never meant to own, and then knelt down and gave it back, and then quietly bought the family's whole future besides, and asked only that no one ever learn his name. You could call it charity. It wasn't. Charity is what the heavy buyer was doing when he figured the horse at 6 cents a pound. What the man at the rail did was something older and harder than charity. He looked at a child holding herself still so the world would not see what it was costing her, and he decided the world had taken enough from that family already. He could have written a check from 1,000 miles away and never seen her face. Instead, he crouched down in the dust to a little girl's height, put the rope back in her hand, and let her keep the thing she loved and her home along with it, and asked for nothing back, not even to be known. If this story reached you, do me a favor, pass it on. Share it with somebody who lost a father too young or a son to a war too far away. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. There are more Duke stories coming, and unfortunately, they don't make men like John Wayne anymore.